This is an interesting video. It's a kangaroo and a domestic cat, right? Now, obviously, the kangaroo is not wild. It's been habituated to the cat. It's probably been living around the cat. That's not necessarily a positive thing. I realize what some people are thinking. They're thinking, well, he has a raven. I have a raven that is bred, it's a domesticated animal. It's a hybrid African raven pied crow. I'm not a hypocrite. I just don't think that wild animals should be pets. I don't think anybody should, in the United States, should have a pet raccoon. You can't keep wildlife. An animal rehabilitator can. You have to have like a reason. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to keep a raccoon. If somebody was using the raccoon, the movie industry, if you had a reason for keeping it, okay, I think you could get a permit for that. It's like, you can't just keep a bird of prey. You can't. There's laws. And you can't keep, in the United States, I'm sure it's the same in Australia too, you just can't keep a kangaroo. Maybe you can keep a kangaroo in the United States. I doubt it's legal in Australia. Does that sort of make sense? Like, if there's kangaroos here already in the zoo, in zoos, right? That's what Sam comes from. He comes from originally zoo stock, okay? So those kangaroos or those ravens were taken out of the wild. Sam, they've had ravens here for, way over 100 years in zoos. So, from Africa, from all over the world. So that's where Sam's lineage comes from. He's not from the wild. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, nobody should have, in Australia, should have a pet kangaroo. If you're some maniac that thinks that you have to have a pet kangaroo and you're in Texas, you could probably have one. There's people in Texas that have tigers. There's people in Missouri that have tigers. A kangaroo's a wild animal. It's like having a deer. You shouldn't have a deer. They shouldn't be habituated to predators like cats and dogs. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this kangaroo cannot be let go. There's no way. There's somebody I saw online recently that has she breeds dogs. She breeds miniature Aussie Shepherds. They look cute too. I want to get one. But she also has a capuchin monkey. I don't want a monkey. I think they're cool. It says Hop is a pet kangaroo. But, a kangaroo as a pet? Is that really appropriate? Isn't a cat enough? That's what I don't get. Like, you have a cat, you can have a dog. Why do you need a kangaroo? I like watching this video of the kangaroo and the cat, but do I think that it's necessarily right? Not if the kangaroo is from the wild. And if you're going to say, well, it's at a rehabilitator's place wouldn't be habituating the kangaroo to a cat. There's got to be ethics. You can't. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I think it's cool. The kangaroo is communicating with a cat. I got a pigeon wife, but she's a domestic animal. So there's just, I don't know. I don't want people to think that my old girlfriend had a snake. The doctor had a snake. It was fucking weird. She liked reptiles. She thought that they were cool. She had an iguana when she was a kid. I've had iguanas. I had 2 iguanas. They were rescued out of backyards in New York City. You could get them at fairs. You could go to like the fair up here, go home with an iguana that's this big, and from eating lettuce for 3 years, it'll get gigantic. Seriously. So that's what those were. They were found in backyards. Both times it was, I think both times it was cops calling me, asking me if I would take it. I had a pet service. That's how they got my name. You know, oh, do you know anybody that'll take an iguana? I had the iguanas as pets for years. They honestly, they're not real good pets. They're interesting. If you have lettuce in your hand, they'll come running to you. But other than that, if you're sleeping on the bed, they'll crawl over your face like you're a rock. They don't give a shit. Okay? That's not... Don't think because they have eyes on the side of their head that they're anything like a bird. Birds are really smart. They are. They're smart. They're friendly. Cold-blooded animals are just like, you know what? Like, you want to have a fish as a pet? It's not really a pet. I think that it's interesting. Do I have any problem with aquariums? No, absolutely not. I've had them. I've had a lot of aquariums. I don't have any now because I got too much on my plate. I don't need that. Come on, cleaning out a fish tank and shit. You know, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like you can have a dog, you can have a cat, you can have a bird. Isn't that enough? Why do you have to have something like a tiger? It's just not appropriate. What do you want a 500-pound cat for? You can't have a domestic cat. They're pretty much the same thing. And your domestic cat's not going to kill you by accident. You know? Talk to Siegfried and Roy. I think one of them died? Didn't the guy that got mauled die? I think he did. Maybe not. I don't want to spread any rumors. I don't know. Spiders, you know? I think they're cool. Do I want one as a pet? No. A bat? Absolutely fucking not. I do not want a bat as a pet. Bats are filthy animals. They are. Get that fucking bat away from me. It's like my kryptonite. Get the fucking bat away. That's the dark animal. That's the animal of the dark. They suck blood. The ones in the United States, those small brown bats, they're a known rabies vector. This is no shit. Toxoplasmosis. I had one in my house. I had bats by my chimney some years back. It was horrible. A couple times they flew in my house. The one time when I was flying around, I had to get my bearings. I had to run outside like a little girl. It was terrifying. Thought I was going to get tangled in my hair, you know. And then the other time, I just left the door open and flew out. No problem. The other time, there was one in my mudroom crawling on the fucking ground during the day. Not a good sign. Nocturnal animals that you see during the day can be sick. Okay? What did I do? I put on leather gloves. I conquered my fears. I picked the fucking tiniest chihuahua with wings up. They remind me of Mango, my chihuahua. And I took it outside and like put it on the fence and got away from it. It's horrible. Like, gotcha, you know. But like, as I was taking it out, I noticed I was sort of breathing heavy, you know. Like any other animal, no problem. Oh, look, you got a tiger, cool. Not a problem. A bat? Get the fucker away from me. It's the only thing I'm afraid of. A fucking bat. It's no shit. I think it's because my grandmother let me watch Dark Shadows as a kid, and I had some kind of like thing, you know. I have arrested development because of Dark Shadows. Bats, you know. No thanks. I don't want rabies, okay? I have animals. I don't want fucking Bucket to snatch the thing out of the sky and then run around with it in its mouth. He keeps animals alive. My cat. You know, I've seen him do it with a mouse. He was interested in the bat. I grabbed Bucket and we went out to the car. It was terrifying. Man, I don't like them. I have bat watch every spring to see if my chimney is still, you know. And I haven't seen any in 2 years. I think 2 years. Seems like it was yesterday. It's fucking horrible. A pet bat? You're out of your fucking mind. What animal would I want if I was going to have a ridiculous animal like a tiger, okay? What wild, exotic animal would I want? I would want a penguin. Absolutely. I would want a whole penguin house, okay? I'd have a male and a female, and, just a real cold pool for them. I'd throw ice in there all the time. It's my fantasy pet. My fantasy pet is 2 penguins. And I wouldn't let them breed, though they'd breed, but I wouldn't let them hatch eggs. Like, I'll take eggs away from Chip and Casper. I don't want any more pigeons. They're a great couple. They're amazing. I love watching them. They're like so friendly to each other. They're just nice. They're nice to each other. They like each other. It's like me and Remy. Like Remy I'll sleep. I'll go to sleep and Remy will sleep by my face. It's sort of like that with Chip and Casper, but they're really physical. Like, it's 2 pigeons. They love each other. I love Remy, but she's a pigeon. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to see Chip and Casper just like, oh, it's fucking amazing. Birds, people don't get it. Birds are fucking awesome. They can be totally affectionate. They can also bite. Okay? They can hurt. So know that. No, if you're thinking about getting a bird as a pet, yeah, they could be awesome. Probably want to get one young. You want to consider how old the bird can live, because the bird might outlive you if you get, like, I'm 54. If I got like a macaw right now, poor macaw when I die. You see what I'm saying? Like, the birds, they bond to the human, right? They totally bond to the human, and then the human goes, and then, like, the bird's sort of left alone. Like Remy. If I die before Remy's going to be a mess. They're the one ant. See, so I'm stepping into a real kind of hot zone here talking about this, but dogs don't experience love. That's a human emotion. They don't really have anything similar to us. What you're seeing, this like sort of playful affection, that's not love. Love is complex. They're not complex. They're really basic. The bird is much more complex than the dog. That's just how it is. And I think that they have something that's similar to humans. A lot of birds have something similar, like the human emotion love. Like, I think that the bird actually has some emotions, and where the dog is, they'll eat their young, But the bird, they'll knock out, the bird that doesn't look like it's gonna, like in the wild, they might knock out, they'll have, like pigeons will lay 2 eggs, right? And the bigger bird can stay in the nest, and a lot of times they'll just take the smaller one and get rid of it, because there might not be enough to eat. Now, in a domestic setting, a pigeon, right? You give it plenty of food, it's going to feed both pigeons. Not a problem. It isn't. But, like, the pigeons underneath the bridge, the subway and shit, they get knocked, they'll knock one out. That's why I have Hemiwinkle, That's just how it is. But they have something similar to us. They're like, I'll tell you one thing that they do that is sort of similar. Is they hook up in relationships with the other animal, like the mate, for a long time. They also travel in flocks. They're very social like a human. Human beings are less likely to stay with their significant other. That doesn't work, but birds, many of the species of birds will stay with their mate for life, and the only time that they would ever consider getting another mate would be if the mate died, and then like a pigeon will find another mate. So, like when I got when I got Chip from the bird store, from the pigeon store, I took her out of an area that was other Budapest tumblers. She might have had a mate in there. I might have taken her away from her mate, but she hooked up with Casper lickety split. And they're a fucking great couple. Seriously. It's great seeing that. They are friendly, they're nicer to each other than most couples are. Seriously. Maybe my Aunt Judy and Uncle Fred. They really liked each other, you could tell. And that's what Chip and Casper are like. You can tell they really like each other. I like Remy, man. I'll let her. She's right over here. She's like a foot away. But you know, I like her. If she wants to hang out on my shoulder, it's cool. I don't give a shit. Same thing with Solar, my pigeon baby. Where is my pigeon baby? Oh, there's Solar. Solar's up there. You see her? Yeah. Anyway, you know, insects aren't pets. You know, a beta in a little cup of water? No. Get a plant, stupid. Get a fucking plant. You don't need exotics. You can have a dog or a cat. It's a different species. Hang out with it, you know? Why does anybody need an exotic animal? I'm not quite sure. But I don't want to start any wars. If you want to have a monkey, you know, and it's legal where you're at, I could probably have one in Beaver Dams, I'm sure. My neighbor had ostriches, emus. You know, I'm in a farming area, but I don't want a fucking monkey. You know, I would watch a monkey for a day. You know, that probably wouldn't work out so good because the monkey wouldn't know you. You know, I wouldn't watch the monkey for a day. I'd decline. You know, I watch a rodent for a day. You know, you got to go somewhere, bring your rodent over. I like rodents. You know, birds tend to flip out when they're away from their owners. I don't like watching other people's birds.